can go in and look at anything that's being talked about for Apple. Then we can drill in a little bit more. Let's look at sentiment, which means basically opinions. So what are people thinking, positive, negative, neutral about Apple? Or how is that behaving over time? So you can see this big spike in positive activity here. We can drill in and say, well, what was being talked about in that moment? We can see different spiking topics, and we can explore them even further. So what were the top negative topics about Apple? The top negative programs that mentioned Apple at a given time? We can drill in and say, what were they saying? So this Asia report was negative. Look at what they were talking about, and what was mentioned in that particular segment, and so on. So we can drill in and explore all of these trends. We can also do sort of fancy things, like let's take a game. So assassin. Wait, let's look at something else. Let's take mentions of. Let's take mentions of Ebola. So people who talk about Ebola, let's think we wanted to know about the Ebola audience. We can go in and explore the audience. So let's look at occupations of people who talk about Ebola. Why? I don't know, but we can do this. So for a brand, it might be occupations of people who talk about your brand. So we can actually figure that out using a whole bunch of statistics. We can also look at things like what are their religions, or what stores do they shop at. So we can take any topic and we can figure these things out. So of course for a brand like Pepsi or Warner Brothers or various kinds of customers we work with, that's quite useful. So if you're looking at, for example, a comparison, let's say that you're Pepsi, one of our customers, and you want to know what do people think about Pepsi versus Coke. So let's do that. So I'm going to go in here and say take Pepsi, and then I'm going to compare Pepsi to Coke. Just find it here. Okay. So this is a comparison, and let's just spread it out a little bit. This is a comparison of 30 days of sentiment about Pepsi versus Coke. And so what you can see here is Pepsi's winning. Their sentiment's a little bit higher, they're blue. Coke is a little bit lower. So brands are looking at this thing to understand how are we doing versus our competitors? What do people think about our products? And then we can do really fancy things. Just for fun, I'll show you. We can try to figure out what drives what. So in this case, let's take a conversation about Pepsi. So Pepsi, and then let's take stock market activity for Pepsi and compare them. And what we're going to try to do here is we're going to automatically analyze all the conversation about Pepsi and all the stock market activity about Pepsi for a year to try to figure out are there any particular topics or hashtags or groups of people that are having an impact on Pepsi's stock price. So if we can figure that out, then you can make some money, right? So you can use this to actually analyze what's driving your sales, what's driving activity on your website, what's driving stock market activity or anything you're interested in. So this is called analytics, and more importantly, it's called data science, which is the next big career. I don't know if you've heard about data science yet? Data scientists, some of you, at least one of you, will probably become a data scientist. That's the hot new career that everybody's talking about, at least in technology right now. They're in short supply, they get paid a lot of money, they get to analyze data and try to find trends for companies. So if you're good at math, or you're good at telling stories with statistics, that's a really interesting thing to look at. So we do data science.